to the show, everyone. As you all know, I like to talk about everybody else on this show. And we're gonna have so much fun because I got two newbies with me and they are nervous like you cannot believe. And what I love about it is when they're nervous, I'm trying to get them not to be nervous, they're making me nervous. So
Okay.
we're gonna go on right now with my first guest, and I'm really excited about bringing her on because, you know, it might be you, it might be someone that you know that has somebody in your family that is aging, and we want to talk about this. It's so important. I have with me Elaine Poker-Yount, and she's the owner of Successful Aging AZ. Welcome to the show. I want you to tell first a little bit about yourself and what you do. Listen up, everyone, it's real important.
Oh, thank you so much, Carol. I am an aging and dementia care specialist. That is the focus of what I do every single day. So I work with families one-on-one. I work with them in group. I have support groups, and we work through the challenges of aging. I am a proponent for being proactive about getting all of our stuff together so that when something happens that's different, it's a situation and it's not a crisis. But I help families to navigate the aging process, and I help them to really learn and understand dementia.
It's hard.
It is hard.
What are some of the signs of dementia?
So everybody thinks memory loss, that's the first sign, right? It's the thing we think of the most, and that's real. But there are so many other signs that we don't often think about. Things like not understanding time and space, losing track of time, saying, oh, somebody visited 2 months ago, and you were like, they were here yesterday, Mom. Or, you know, somebody just always showing up late or going to the wrong place. We don't think about that. Or somebody goes to put something on the table and it falls to the floor over and over again, and you're like, because our vision changes a little bit. Maybe change in personality. We don't do our banking like we used to. We don't understand that concept of money or even counting it. Things like that that we just don't always think of. Change in personality. We're becoming more staying home a little bit more. Or maybe we've become a little bit more outgoing. Maybe we've gotten crabbier. Maybe we've gotten sweeter. All of those kinds of things can be, something's going on up there and we have to figure it out.
So why you?
Why? Well, for starters, there's not a lot of people who do what I do. But I've been on this journey for a really long time. When I was in high school, my aunt had Alzheimer's and her family lived far away, so we took care of her, and I just watched, and it was interesting, and that was back in the day of card catalogs. We didn't have 1-800-Alzheimer's Association. We didn't have the Area Agency on Aging. We didn't have a lot of the resources that we do now. But fast forward, very many people in my family have had different kinds of dementia, and they still do, and I've been a long-distance caregiver for a long time, and even a best friend has Alzheimer's.
Now you're having an event that's coming up. I know that you have one in October that is coming around the corner. I want you to talk a little bit about what that is, and it's a free event, and tell us a little bit about that.
I do free dementia conferences 2 to 3 times a year, and it's based so that families can learn the realities of how to live with dementia. We get a diagnosis and we have to go read, and we read different things, and it's okay, fine, but how does that really play out, and when do we use these strategies? I teach all of those kinds of things, how to really understand from a very physiological point of view what's happening in your loved one's brain and what they're experiencing, so that you can really understand what they're going through, because it changes the dynamics and it helps you to not be so frustrated because you know that this is their brain that's dying.
And
right?
who's the little who are they for? Who comes to these?
Spouses, children, parents of children, neighbors, best friends, professionals.
Caregivers come too?
All, absolutely.
You know, because when you're dealing with this, I know people out there that are dealing with their family members that might have dementia, It is super hard, and to have somebody there that you can call and talk to and help you sort of coach them, is
Coach,
that?
absolutely, and some families we do practice kinds of situations. I go into the home, I look at the environment, I assess the situation. I really delve deep into who the person is, because so many things from the past come up as we age, and it helps us to discern. Even things, I had some daughters who got really mad because dad wore khaki pants and a red shirt every day, and they thought the neighbors would think he never changed his clothes. Well, digging around a little bit, we find out dad was a Coke delivery driver. So dad thought he was going to work every day when he put that on, and they changed their tune in a snap, right?
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we came on, you had told me that you are nationwide, so you work with people that way. You do free 30-minute consultations, and I want you to know something else about her, is that she writes a monthly article in the Arizona Republic. It's called the Successful Aging AZ, and talk to us a little bit about what that's all about.
So every week we just pick every month we just pick a topic, and usually it comes from what happened that week with clients, with friends, with situations, from something in my support group, and we just break it down a little bit. Over the last few years, I've gotten more words to be able to go through it, and since I really get a lot of response. We talk about anger, we talk about my person is repeating something over and over again. How do we make that stop? But then I also talk about aging subjects, hearing aids, things that are important, resources that are in the community, things that nobody knows exist.
Now, her phone number to call, it's 480-203-8548. You can check her out on her website. It's successfulagingaz.com. I'm going to go to some of your questions now, because I think you're a little bit more comfortable with me now that we're doing this, right? And so I want to talk about when somebody does call you. When is that usually, what happens, what's happening in their homes or with their family member?
I'm gonna say that most of the time when people finally pick up the phone to call, it's because they're in crisis mode and they're just at their wit's end and they don't know what to do.
Why do people do that? I mean, you wait till the last second and you know that something is wrong. It didn't just happen in one day.
Because you think you've got it. So this conference I framed it with memory loss instead of dementia, because that word is so scary to people. It's like, remember we used to whisper cancer. We didn't say it out loud. And dementia has, a stigma that goes with it, and we're really trying to get rid of that with understanding, awareness, understanding, and really kind of diving in to get people to learn what it is. But a lot of times people think they're going crazy because the situation changes and the person's behavior is erratic, and they don't know how to deal with that erraticness, and they take it personally, thinking that they're choosing. But when our loved one is giving us a hard time, it's because they're having a hard time.
Now, you do this coaching, you come in and you do it in person, or is that done remotely? How do you work, how do you do that?
It just depends on the situation. I do a lot of in-home situations where we kind of go, we look at the environment, we dig into the person and see what's there. We assess the family members and who's on board and who's not, and kind of work to connect them together. But I do a lot on Zoom too, because we have people all over the country, family members, and we're working to get them on the same page.
What I think is what's wonderful about this show is that all of the information that people get from listening to it, and it could be you or someone that you know. That's what networking is all about. Now, she does a free 30-minute consultation. Her phone number to call is 480-203-8548. Check her out on her website. It's successfulagingaz.com. Hang tight, we're going to be back in just a minute. Okay, we're still live in this room right now. That's the difference when you do a 30-minute. So we are live on Facebook. So I want you to sort of talk about maybe a story that you have. Do you have a story?
I have so many stories.
Tell me one.
So, it's a Sunday morning and I get a phone call, and the person on the other end says, hey, when they find my mom, will you take care of her until I can get there on Thursday? And I'm like, okay, what's going on with mom, or how do you know she's missing, or well, dad's in an ambulance on the way to the hospital, and mom is nowhere to be found. And I said, okay, and her husband was out of the country on business, and I said, okay, what hospital is dad in? I'll go get details. And she said, I have no idea, they didn't tell me from the ambulance, he just made that call and said, find mom. So I did some research, I found the hospital, somebody called 911 when mom was found. She was looking for help, she didn't know how to use the telephone. And I got to the hospital and dad was getting ready to go to ICU. And I said, I just have one question for him. And the staff was like, oh no, we have the house keys and she knows her address, you're good to go. And I said, but I need to know about medications. And I went to the gentleman who happened to be a colonel, and I asked him about the medications, and he said, oh, big giant tear rolled down his face, and he said, I fear I have not set my troops up for success. And he said, there are some meds in the house, and that's all he said. And we got there, and the room, every table, the kitchen, the dining room, the bedroom was filled with medication bottles.
Oh, God.
Dad had both of these folks have passed, but dad had cancer and mom had dementia, like pretty advanced Alzheimer's specifically, and we had to do all these different things to be able to manage to get her in a good place, because I worked in home care for 13 years with Visiting Angels, and so we were able to take care of her, but we had to work with Walgreens and HIPAA and the forms and everything to get what we needed to be able to help her.
Yeah, that's hard too now. Okay, so how am I doing with you?
Fine.
Okay.
That's excellent.
I like better than fine.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like better than good. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
I could talk about the 30-minute thing. I could
I'm
talk
sorry,
about the 30-minute, like what do I do in 30 minutes?
Okay. So welcome back, everyone. You know, I do love my show, and I think it's great because of all the information. I said that earlier. I will say it all the time. And you know, sometimes people, you know, you might write something down and put it on your refrigerator. A lot of people do that, right? And I say this because you might want to, even if you know you're living with a parent that you know, maybe you've experienced a little bit of here or there, but you're not sure if it's ready yet, whatever. Write this number down, put it in your phone, put it on your refrigerator, and maybe give it to somebody that that you know has a parent that might be aging, or you have a loved one. Who's your client?
My client is anybody over probably 45. We're seeing a lot more instances of younger situations, but but it could be a sister, it could be a neighbor, any of those, a parent, a colleague, and we don't know what the resources are. And Arizona is becoming very dementia friendly. We have dementia friendly cities. We have a program to make dementia friendly businesses. We have dementia friends in our communities. I'm a champion for that program.
I think that's awesome. Now, her phone number is 480-203-8548. The website is successfulagingaz.com. She does do free 30-minute consultations with everyone, and you wanted me to ask you, what does that 30-minute 30-minute consultation look like?
So it allows a family to just kind of give me the immediacy of the situation, and it allows me to be able to problem solve with them for a couple different things so that they really learn my value, because inevitably I give them information that they never considered, they had never heard of, and they didn't know, and it gives them an opportunity to move forward in a different way. And then they can assess, do we need a little bit more of this, or did we solve the problem for the moment? They might call back 6 months later, we're at a new stage, or a year later, or they might never call back, but typically they call back at some point.
So they can have you for little segments at a time, or they can have you for long periods of time? How's that work?
When they become clients, I do it at half an hour to an hour, or longer, but I don't do less than a half an hour.
Right.
Unless somebody buys a whole
It
package.
doesn't make sense, so,
Yeah.
right, but you do have packages as well?
I do.
Is all that information on your website?
No.
Okay, well, you can find it out from me, and you can check her out on her website, which is successfulagingaz.com. What is the number one question that you get asked?
It's a statement, I think I'm going crazy. That seriously is the number one thing, because behavior is erratic, right?
Is that from the person or their significant other, child, what have you?
Well, because their significant other, their loved one is changing, changes in dementia are so erratic, and if you're early stage, you're perfectly fine, except when you're not. And if I say that in a room full of people, everybody nods their head, because it's
I feel
just a
that way sometimes myself.
It's a reality.
Mhm.
And so they don't know who's losing it. Is it them, or am I losing it? I could have sworn I told her, I could have sworn we went and did this, but now she's accusing me of taking this, or something is happening, and they're not on the same page. But when dementia really is diseases of the brain that are significant enough to cause us to not be able to do our daily activities normally, but they're erratic because our brain changes in two different ways. It changes physically and it changes chemically. And when we're together, and everything's connected and it's all good together, we're well. But as brain cells die, we've all seen the picture of the shrunken brain. The connections aren't tight, they aren't consistent, they aren't always there. We've lost some of the ability to make those connections. And that's where that erraticness comes in. When those chemicals aren't flowing the way they should. We do better early in the morning, but as the day progresses and our brain gets tired, we don't get the same nourishment of chemicals in our brain, so it's different. We have more challenges as the day progresses.
She works nationwide, and she does free consultations. They're 30-minute consultations, and you can check her out on her website, which is successfulagingaz.com. You can also call her. Her phone number is 480-203-8548. She has a free dementia conference that she's having in Chandler on October 18th. It's free, and almost anyone can go, the way I'm
Absolutely.
hearing it. And there's gonna be one October 23rd in Sun Lakes, and again, free.
Everything's on the website.
And everything is on the website, so that phone number to call is, the website is successfulagingaz.com. Okay, so one of the other things that you wanted me to ask you is, what would you like for everybody today that's listening to take away? What would be the one takeaway that you would want them to do?
The one takeaway is, if you have questions, if you're worried that something is going on, don't hide it under the rug. Bring it out in the open. Talk to somebody. If you can't talk to your person, only about 30% of the people, if lucky, have awareness of the changes they're experiencing. The other people don't. So don't be angry at them when they're in denial, because they're not in denial. They have lost the ability to have awareness. That part of their brain has already been hit, because you will need a team moving forward.
I will say that there's so many people, I know so many people who, you're kind of still taking, now you've changed things have looked different. Now you're taking care of the parents a little bit more. And when they're dealing with a parent that is agitated, or that is doing some of these different symptoms that she's talking about, boy, can it be hard on that person. They get so frustrated, they don't know how to handle it. But having someone like you who can come in and coach them and help them understand it, I think understanding, and by the way, I am sure a lot of people go to Dr. Google, right? And then of course, you'll hear so much information. Best to call someone like you.
There's a lot of great information on the internet, but it's really hard to apply it sometimes when you don't have the reality going through it or watching it. I've got several different certifications, but I call her the global guru of dementia. Her name is Teepa Snow, Teepa Snow, and she's an industry across the globe. But she has broken dementia down very physiologically, very biologically, and she's replicated it, and she's got all these foot soldiers. So I'm one of her certified, trained, independent trainers to be able to share her method, which is all OT based. How do we look at the person, who they are, who they've been, who they've become, and meet them where they are with the capabilities they still have, and don't focus on any of the inabilities they can no longer do.
That's pretty super.
That is pretty
So
cool.
you are a certified coach in dementia,
Mhm.
right? And please, and aging and dementia.
The certification for the certification is several certifications in dementia. I take different courses about aging all the time. I recently did one, first aid, mental health first aid for older adults. So all these kinds of things help to put things together, but I've worked with seniors for over 30 years.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, having somebody who is obviously have her experience, who can come in and help you understand, and don't wait till there's a crisis. We talk about that a lot, where people, especially when it comes to aging. I know that I just experienced it with my ex-mother-in-law, who's very close. We're still very close, and everything was fine for a long time. And then boom, things started to change, and the kids got very, very, very agitated, and I felt really sorry, for them. And I also felt sorry for her as a person who, she didn't know what she was really doing. I don't think she realized it.
Really, the question of the day that I tell everybody to ask themselves is, how do you want it handled when? When what? When anything is different. When you can't drive anymore. We tell people they can't drive anymore, but we don't know how that feels. We're just nervous and scared for them. But if we just think about, if I said, Carol, I saw you pull in. Carol, I saw you hit the curb, and then you didn't park in between the lines. Hand over your keys, and I was standing next to you. But it's terrifying. You have to be able to feel what it feels like. And then have those discussions with your family members. Share with your kids. Share with your people, so that they have guidance when you don't have the ability to say what you want anymore.
This conversation that we're having today, right now, and there's a lot of them, I have people in different industries, when it comes to aging, is so important. And we want you to write down this number. We want you to use it. We want you to call and get that 30-minute consultation. Maybe it's you're living with somebody. Maybe it is somebody that you know, your mother, your father, grandma. It doesn't matter. Today, a lot of people are becoming the caretaker for a longer time than, normal, right? And still, if you don't understand it, it is going to make it so much harder on you, where she can come in and she can help you make that to understanding it and getting it easier on the person, because the other person is not going to get better. It's you, right?
Yes, because the reason caretaking is hard is you have to be the change.
That phone number to call is 480-203-8548. It's successfulagingaz.com.
Oh my God.